we go, we kind of touched upon, I just wouldn't like this. When an extensive revision to a book. Now,
Mhm.
your other books, did you have to do an extensive revision?
No. The
Okay.
book one, which was Watergrave, came off pretty well as I anticipated it, and we did a few things that we changed in the end when we got to the end and realized we wanted to do something a little bit more with one of the characters who became an antagonist. Then I went back and tweaked, but that wasn't really major. That was just putting some uh, Easter eggs in there, for the reader to get to that point. Book two was pretty clean. Book three, I've had all kinds of issues with what I wanted to do, and so that's the first one I had several major revisions on.
All right. So let's talk about book three and then we'll go to book four.
Okay.
Like, what kind of revisions do you have to do? This is what authors need to know when you are with a publisher versus going to a self-published house. You
Right.
really have lose a little bit of that creative control, but it really brands you. So there's a between a traditional hybrid publisher and a self-publisher, there are three different avenues, and we could discuss those on another podcast because you've done all three. Um, that's the process. It's their brand. They want it to be a certain way or no deal.
Well, and it's not
Is
even
it?
that. It's on the first one was the feedback from the people from Metro Nashville Police Department, and so from the forensic pathologist to the lieutenant to the homicide detective that all read my stuff ahead of time, and they give me feedback. I had a lot of procedural issues there, things that I had my detective doing that she would not do, or she would be suspended for doing, or she would be fired for doing. Also, at certain points, since this was the first one that is a serial killer, the FBI would have been involved as far as consulting. So I had to insert an FBI agent in there and try to tweak that where my detective still had control. So I had several layers of this major editing. That's the first one I had to do, is go back in procedurally and how could I accomplish the same thing and still make this the integrity of the work follow procedure that would be in real life. So once I got that back, then I sent it to my agent after I made those revisions, and then she found, because I had inserted and changed, now I had timeline issues and I had consistency issues.
Oh my goodness.
So I had to go back from start to finish and make sure my timeline was consistent, that the everything flowed, and what I had the character doing, that kind of a personality, stuck all the way through. And so I did that, and then I came back and decided I was going to do a third major revision of not revealing certain things so early, and so I had to suspend that. So yeah, I fight that old issue where my writing professor, creative writing professor, used to say, "I didn't, Mitchell, you don't want to write, you want to have written." And yeah, I'd love to have it done and get it in the hands of people, but the reality is, if you want it to be good and you want it to be sustainable and you want to have a series where people keep investing, you've got to put the work in.
Amen. And that's the thing. I think the biggest thing is you have to put the work in. So that
Yep.
was revision three. So a lot of it has to do with the police department and some of the whole crime ish things
Yes,
that you
the
want them
major
to
part was
be.
that.
And three. Now four, the
Okay.
one that you're
Book
putting your.
four is supposed to come out in July of next year. So I'm starting on that. I'm 25 pages into it now, but
Oh, so the major revisions are three. Oh, I'm
yeah,
already.
three is the one that's coming out in January.
Right, right.
That's
But
what I've been pushed on the clock for. And I've got that. Finally, it's in the
I
agent's
was getting
hands. So
three,
she's,
four. Oh, there you go. Well,
yeah.
okay.
So the cleansing, which comes out in January, that's the one that had all these major revisions on it to make sure that it's legit and that it fits everything.
Were you surprised? I think you were because you just never had to deal with this. It had to do more timeline, and then so you first sent it to the police department first, the
Hmm.
the manuscript before you sent it to the editors.
Before I sent it to my agent, yeah, who she does some editing as well.
So you have that's the big thing. How many edits do you go through?
Uh, Personally, I go through about four or five myself before I give it away. To my agent, she will do a structural, consistent, plot wise edit. And then she will go back after I've finished those and she will do a grammatical and spelling and clean edit before she sends it off to the publisher who has his layers of editing as well.
Several layer and layer upon layer. That's the big thing, right?
And no matter how many it goes through, someone, reader will find something we missed.
Oh my. All right. So what do you think you would do differently in 4 when you're writing 4 now? You're already thinking about those things so that you don't have to have all those extra revisions.
Yeah, and as I'm writing 4, I'm already spinning book 5 in my head, so that 4 leads into that.
That's scary if
But
you're spinning it in your head, but go ahead.
I kind of see it as 2 different movies going on at the same time. That's one of my blessings and my curses. But book 4, I've outlined it already. Now I've done a little thicker outline, and I'm actually starting the writing. And I got to a point where there's a certain way that I'm killing the victim, and so I've stopped and talked to the pathologist friend of mine, and she's giving me what the symptoms would be, what would the process be for, because this is not a normal toxin that they're killing with. And so would Metro normally at first round test for that? And the answer was no. That's a specific kind of test, and you have to know what you're testing for. So she gave me what the symptoms as they're dying would be, since this is a very, very unique toxin. And so now I can put that in as I go.
And do you write down notes and start thinking about how you can become a better writer every time you're writing?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Every day you learn, every day, hopefully you get better.
And when you figure it out, you figure it out. And then there's the next thing, and then the next thing, and the next thing. And the characters, are there new characters you're developing in 5 in your mind?
Book 4 and 5, yes.
Yes.
And in book 4, some will die.
Well, isn't there always someone that dies at the beginning?
Well, not one of the characters you've been used to.
Oh, this is like almost in like this is where Billy.
Before this has been like the Star Trek person in the red shirt. If you remember watching Star Trek as they went to landing party, there was always someone unnamed who was wearing a red shirt. That's the person who's going to die. There are those victims, but book 4 and 5, people that are in that main character list are going to be departing.
Dearly departed. Oh my goodness. Oh my. I guess thinking about more of the process, what tips for writers you give right now that want to write a book? Because I mean, I just interviewed a new author. I've interviewed other people. Everyone's so excited. What do you think this Mitchell would have done differently to tell the original Mitchell that wrote a book?
Be patient. It's going to take time. What you think you want, be flexible enough to have an outline, but as the story grows, let it tell you where to go. Don't be so rigid, because if you are rigid, what I find out is that the reader will know earlier on where you're going. If you get surprised at the end as well, the reader will be.
Great tip. Oh my goodness. People can go to mitchellscarnesauthor.com. Mitchell, excited to talk to you again next week. And you hope to have some good news. And sign up for the newsletter going to mitchellscarnesauthor.com, because the newsletter is going to give you a lot of the information that you might get if you're not listening to the podcast. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's something for you can ask questions to Mitchell. Respond to those emails when he sends out the newsletter, and Mitchell will get back to you. Appreciate it, Mitchell.
All right.
That was a special simulcast.